Welcome to the midterm exam review. In this video, we're going to work the quadratic equations. So we're working problems 32 through 39. For the first problem, we're going to graph a y equals 3x squared. So what I'm going to do is I'm using the y equals x squared or the parent function throughout these. It makes it easier just to see the differences between the equations and how they're translated or how they change shape. So I'm going to put in a -1 for the x squared, and that's going to make 1. If I put in 0 for the x squared, that's going to make 0. And if I put in 1, I'm going to have 1 again. So I'm going to do the same thing for this problem down here as well in just a second. Okay, so that's what I mean by using the parent function every single time. Now, if for number 32, if I had a 3 in the front, that's simply just multiplying that 3 times what I have there we go, up here. There we go. Okay, so I'm going to have 1 times 3 is 3. There we go. And then this is 0, and this is 3. So what I'm going to do is go ahead and plot -1, 3 for that first point. Okay, so I'm going to do -1, 3 and 0, 0. Zero right there, and then 1, 3. And then I'll just draw that. Okay. Okay, so it's kind of a skinny parabola with the 3 because the 3 is making it skinnier, all right? Okay, so let's try number 33 because 33 is not changing the shape, it's actually shifting it down. So what we're going to do is we're going to look at shifting all these points down 2. So I'm going to go back and grab my little thing here to draw these points. So I'm going to take -1, 1, and we're going to shift it down 3. And then 0, 0 goes down to -3. And then 1, 1 goes down to 3 right there. Okay. Let's see if I can. There we go. Okay. And then I'm going to draw that parabola. Oops. Okay. All right. So let's do the next one, number 34. Okay. So on this one again, I'm putting in -1 into the x squared. So I'm coming out with 1, 0, and 1. So now all I have to do is take these same points and I'm going to shift them. This one's going to be left 1, and then this one's going to be up 2. Whoops. Up 2. Okay. So -1, 1, or we can actually do the 0, 0 first, which isn't what we normally do. 0, 0 is -1 and then up 2. So we're going to go right there. Okay. And then we're going to go left 1, up 2 for the other ones. So it's going to be right there, and then that one's going to be right there. So then you just go ahead and draw that. Okay, all right, so let's do 35. With 35, we want to find the equation, we want to write the equation, okay, for the parabola. Now, they already tell me that the vertex is -3, 8, okay? Remember, this is your h and your k, or rather than your negative h. Okay, so I can go ahead and write this, and notice that I already put the formula up here that we had talked about. So ax, remember this is a negative negative, so that's +3 squared and then +8. Okay, because that means shift it left 3 and up 8, which is where my vertex is at -3, 8. Now I'm going to put the -2 and the 12 in for the x and the y. The one I don't know is a, so that's what I'm trying to figure out. But I will say this, I pretty much have my answer is already written for me. All I have to do right now is find a. So let's do that. Let's take the -2 and put it in for x. So there's -2. Take the 12 and put it in for y. So we need to do this calculation. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to put it over on this side. I'm going to put the 8 on the other side. So if I subtract 8, I get 4 equals a. And then -2 plus 3 is 1. Okay. So that's 1 squared. So if I divide 1 on the other side, I basically still have 4. Okay, so now all I have to do is go in here, let's erase this a, and put my 4 in, and there's my equation. Okay, all right, let's try the next one. Okay, so for 36, it asks us to find the vertex and axis of symmetry. So I'm going to start with the axis of symmetry. So that formula that you need to memorize is x equal -b over 2a. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take from my equation, which remember we want to use the format ax squared. So it's just the coefficient or the number in front of the x and then the c. So I'm going to take -16, because it's -b in the formula, and then the 16 for the b, and then multiply 2 times 2, which is the number in front of the x squared. So I basically have my axis of symmetry is x equals -16 divided by 4 is -4. So that's my first answer for axis of symmetry. Okay, now the second thing that I'm going to do is, in order to find the vertex, which is actually sitting on the axis of symmetry. So if I do that, then I'm going to take -4 and plug it into the original equation. So let's do that right here real quick. So I've got y equals 2 times -4 squared plus 16, let me just take the x out and put the 4 in, and then minus 16. Okay, now remember PEMDAS, this -4 in the front has to be squared first, so that's going to be 16. So that is 16 times 2 is 32, and this is minus 64 and minus 16. Okay, and that gives us -48. So the answer for the vertex is -4, -48. Okay, so let's do number 37. Okay, now I'm going to use the same format right here to write the equation. But for 37, we're going to use the Stat button in the calculator. So remember, you go to Stat Edit. Okay, and I'm going to put L1 are going to be all the x values from the points that are in 37. So I'm looking at these points right here. Okay, and in L2, I'm going to put all the y values, making sure that I keep them together, -2 with 24. So just list them out all in order. Okay, so then I'm going to come back and I'm going to go to, after that, I'm going to go to Stat Calculate. Okay, and I'm going to pick the quad regression. Okay, quadratic. All right, so let's just go ahead, and this is from our previous problem, so we'll go ahead and put that right there. Now, once you press enter a couple times, you'll get your answer. Make sure that you put your numbers into the proper format, okay? Okay, so I've gone ahead and written the answer out here. You're going to get A equals 3, B equals -4, and C equals 4. And your answer is going to look like this. Y equals 3x squared minus 4x plus 4. So if you have any questions about that, let me know. Okay, next problem. For 38, we're going to graph x squared minus 2x plus 1. Now, I'm going to go through the steps for graphing. Also remember that you can use your calculator on the midterm exam. So, if I'm going to do a standard form, I've got to first start with the axis of symmetry, which is -b over 2a. That 2 right here is a negative, so it's going to be a negative over 2 times 1. So the axis of symmetry right now is 2 over 2, and that just makes 1. Okay. All right. Now, that's my axis of symmetry. Now, if I take 1 and plug it into the point that I want to make for my vertex, then that's going to give me y equals 1 squared minus 2 times 1 plus 1. Okay, so that's going to make 1 plus 1 is 2, 2 minus 2 is 0. So my vertex is 1, 0. Okay, now the easiest way to plug in a number would to pick 0, because if I plugged in 0 right here, so let's say I want another point. So if I plug in 0, then I would get 0 plus another 0 plus 1, so it'd be 0, 1. That's really close, but let's see if we can do that. So we're going to put that right there. And then I'm going to reflect it on the other side, so I'm going to put it right here. And there's my parabola. So all I have to do is just draw it now. Okay. Now, that's it for this problem. Pretty easy to go in, find your axis of symmetry, find your vertex, pick another point, which it doesn't matter which x value you pick, I just like 0, and then reflect it on the other side. The questions on the exam could be any part of that process. So just recognize that sometimes they may just ask you for the vertex or the axis of symmetry. Okay, let's try number 39. So in this case, notice I don't have a graph for this, but I always like to sketch my graph real quick so I can see what I'm talking about. So right now, I have a vertex of 0, 0. Okay, I know that this parabola is facing up because of the y equals there, because if it were x equals, it would be facing right or left. Also, if I take the 1/8 and make it equal to 1 over 4c, which is the formula that we have to memorize. Then I know c is 2, and c represents the number of steps I'm going to take from the vertex. So remember, this is the vertex. And if I go and count 2, then I know that this point right here is the focus. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and write my focus down because I just found it. So it's going to be 0, 2. All right, now I just need the directrix, which means I'm going to go the other way. Because remember, my parabola is facing this way. Okay, and the directrix is actually the opposite of the focus, or on the opposite side of the parabola, so it's kind of behind it, where I'm going to go ahead and I say, okay, well, there's my directrix. Well, at this point it's -2. Remember, it's like an imaginary line behind it. So I need to decide, is this y equals or x equals? So I mean, honestly, that would be nice, because basically, if I can figure out whether it's y equals or x equals, I'm not going to be tricked by the problems, which are going to have a multiple choice answers of x or y depending on how they want to trick you. Okay, so you have to know, is it y equals or x equals? Okay, so that's it for this video. Please let me know if you have any questions. Check out the other videos for the review, and thank you for watching.